All right. Good morning, or good afternoon, depending on what part of the country or world you are joining us from. Coach Kevin here, and let's go ahead and get started. First thing I want to go ahead and do is share my screen with you and point out some things that will be important. First thing I'd like to point out is we have a Facebook group that actually matches and coincides with our meetup group. This group has the same name. It's called Live Law of Attraction, Money, Wealth, and Success Training. And to find us, when you log into Facebook, just look for your search function, start typing in the name of the group, and you'll be able to find us and come join us. The other way that you can find us and come join us is you can go directly to facebook.com/groups, which is plural, /money manifesting coach. Again, you can go to facebook.com/groups, plural, /money manifesting coach. Now, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to join the group in the first place? Well, let's say today is your first day here with us and you really like what we're doing, and we say some things, you learn some things, and you want to go ahead and repeat today. Well, typically 24 to 48 hours, we like to go ahead and post the previous meeting. So in other words, today, either later today or sometime tomorrow, probably, today's meeting will be posted. If you look here, there's yesterday. Actually, no, there's not yesterday. There's a couple days ago. And let's see, I wonder where I thought I posted yesterday's. Anyhow, that's why I give myself 24 to 48 hours. We will have the new one in here today. Right after this meeting, you will have the one from the first. But anyhow, if you like something, you can go repeat it. The other reason is let's say that we're going through some material and you're here with us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. For some reason, Thursday, you can't make it. Then you're able to come back on Friday. And let's say we've been going through the same thing all week as far as the material goes. It gives you a chance to go back and get caught up with us. Speaking of material, let me share with you what we are going through right now. We are in the process of going through a book called Hidden Treasures. Now, I own it as a book. I own it on Kindle. I own it as on Audible. And so I have it in multiple forms. I've read it many times. And I'll tell you in a moment why we're going through this book. But what I wanted to show you is how to get a free copy of the book. The book is actually written by a gal by the name of Leslie Householder, who is a friend of mine. Here's Leslie. Okay. And Leslie and I have both been trained to be coaches and facilitators for Bob Proctor's programs. Now, I don't know if you know who Bob Proctor is or not. Hopefully you do. But if you haven't heard of Bob, maybe you've heard of his book, You Were Born Rich, or maybe you've met Bob and didn't even know it, because he's heavily highlighted in the movie and the book called The Secret, which was done by Rhonda Byrne. So anyhow, we have both been, like I said, trained as coaches and facilitators for Bob. And then after doing so and working with them for a while, we've struck out and we are now independent coaches ourselves as far as the law of attraction goes. Okay, so Leslie has wrote a very, very, very good book. You can go buy it on Amazon if you want a hard copy of it, or get it on Kindle, or if you want to go get it on Audible, you can do that. But here is where you can get a free one. I'm glad she started offering it for free recently. I say recently, in the last couple of years. And this is the website that you can go to get your free copy. So it's hiddentreasuresbook.com. Again, hiddentreasuresbook.com. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a spot here where it says click for your free download. So that's where you go to get your own copy of the book. And I recommend that you do, so that you can be with us here. So this is the book itself. We're on page number 70, but let me explain why this book is so valuable and so important. Okay. You've heard of the law of attraction probably, or you wouldn't even be in this meeting right now. Okay. And the law of attraction is what is spoken of in the movie The Secret, or the book The Secret. And it's probably the most familiar thing that's been expressed as far as the laws of the universe that govern us manifesting what we want in our life. However, the law of attraction and you have to be obedient to these laws if you want to get the results that you want. Disobedience to these laws will bring you the opposite of what you're wanting. Not because you've done, when I say disobedience, this isn't like biblical in the sense of like, hey, you know what, you sinned or whatever. We're talking about laws that govern the universe that will be in effect whether we understand them or not. For instance, today people fly airplanes, right? Have airplanes been around since the beginning of time when man and women first came on this planet? No. Was the ability to fly an airplane, did that exist? Yes. So why weren't people flying airplanes early on? Because they weren't aware that, one, it was possible, or even had they imagined that. And even those with imagination, they didn't understand the laws that govern aerodynamics and things like the laws of gravity so that they could create something that would actually get off the ground and fly. Okay. But once people understood these laws existed, they were able to work with the laws to get the result they wanted, which is an airplane being able, some piece of metal weighing thousands, if not tens of thousands of pounds being hurled through the sky and taking us from one location to another. So when you didn't understand it, it was kind of irrelevant. Once they did understand it, they could do something with it and make an airplane fly. Okay. But there's also, let me give another example because this is what's happening to most of us in the world. Little children, we are kind of like little children, okay, in the fact that we're not always aware of the laws that govern the universe. Therefore, we disobey them accidentally. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, let's say a child crawls up onto a chair. Let's say the child's in the kitchen. He crawls up onto a chair or stool. Okay, and so this is a crawler. This isn't a walker yet. Okay, young child crawls up and gets on top of the counter. Okay, let's say it's one of those big islands in the kitchen. And the child gets up on one side because they're able to get up onto a chair and then be able to get themselves up onto the top of the counter. And they start crawling. If they keep crawling to the end of the counter and don't stop, what's going to happen? The law of gravity is going to take effect and the child is going to go off the other side and fall down. And very likely the child's going to be hurt. How hurt will the child be? That depends. How high up was the child? Okay. What is the material of the floor? Is the floor made out of, granite or slate or tile or wood? Probably not carpet because we're in a kitchen. So it's probably going to be a pretty hard surface. What part of the child actually hits the ground first? What hits it second, right? I'm not laughing because it's something that we want to ever see happen to a child. But what I'm trying to express here is this: the child disobeyed the law of gravity. The child didn't even know the law of gravity. So why should the child have to obey a law that the child doesn't know? Because these aren't laws like traffic laws. These are laws that were put in place when the foundation of this world was created. They've been in existence ever since man and woman have been on the planet, and it hasn't changed. The law of gravity has been in effect, and it doesn't matter if you understand it or not. Doesn't matter if you're young or older. to those laws, even if it's by accident, we suffer the consequence. Typically, the consequence is actually receiving the opposite of what it is we really want. That is usually the number one consequence. If you're wanting more money, you end up with less. If you're wanting a better relationship, you end up with a worse one. Okay. Whatever it is that you happen to truly desire, when you're disobeying these laws, it usually impacts you in the negative opposite way. So it would behoove you to understand them, and then it would behoove you to obey them. And it would behoove you, like those that learn how to make an airplane fly, to actually use the laws in your favor so that you can get what you want out of life. So Leslie has done a phenomenally good job at explaining these laws. And because her book is made available for free, I've chosen to use this to help you guys understand these laws the way I understand these laws. Okay. And we are currently on page 70, so you can follow along while I'm going here. And you can also go download your copy and bring yourself to page 70, and you'll be in the exact same place. What I'm going to do right now is start reading where we left off yesterday. And then we're going to leave about 10 to 15 minutes at the end of what we're doing here to give you the opportunity to share what you want to share and ask whatever questions you would like to ask. Okay. So I'm going to get a sip of water here and get rolling with this. Okay. Lesson 5, Law of Rhythm. Remember, when we discussed that everything vibrates, the world is in an ocean of motion, I like that phrase. It's one I adopted from Bob Proctor. Well, for this lesson, I'd like you to think about the world as that ocean of motion. But instead of picturing a buzzing and blurry collection of atoms and molecules bumping around all over the place, imagine the movement of things as being smooth and peaceful, like the ocean. The tide rises and falls. The waves come in and then go out. Microscopically, the elements are chaotically bumping around all over the place, but zoom out and you'll see rhythm. I studied mathematics in college. As part of my studies, I was able to take a brief look at a recently discovered phenomenon the scientists call chaos. James Gleick wrote an excellent book on the subject, but it doesn't sound all that scientific, does it? Sounds like my house with several little ones running around underfoot. But it is fascinating to study. The experts have looked at things in nature, things that seem random or things that seem disorderly, and have been discovering patterns that were not obvious before. They have taken mammal population data, and where results seemed erratic with computer imaging, they have graphed the data. And by zooming way, way out, they see patterns that they had never noticed before. By dropping an ink droplet into water, they have seen quantifiable similarities between the shapes in the creatures, or it creates as it falls, and the physical characteristics of a jellyfish. The path of lightning, the air currents, all of these natural unpredictable behaviors have more to them than we have understood. My favorite example of a pattern in nature is captured in a scientist's illustration of how a shoreline looks from different perspectives. Suppose a man is asked to measure the length of Great Britain's shoreline. So we're going to get to a figure here in a moment. You'll be able to see what we're talking about, which will be figure 1. He could take a yardstick and walk it off, and then count the number of times the yardstick was placed along the shoreline. But if he took a ruler and did the same thing, he would get a different overall length. This is because the yardstick cannot account for the ins and outs of the shoreline that occur within the space of the yard, the way the ruler can. The ruler would be responsible for measuring a lengthier shoreline. Again, he would end up with an entirely different measurement by using a smaller unit, because it would account for the jagged ins and outs that could not be measured, or the ruler would be measured with the ruler. I missed something there. I wonder if she's talking about a piece of rope would also measure differently. Okay, Now, if he were to repeat the process, measuring, there we go, with shorter and shorter units until he was finally negotiating each pebble or grain of sand, the measured length of the shoreline would be nearly at its longest. Okay, so what's my point? Hang in here, it's coming. I remember a song from my childhood, something about that's about the size where you put your eyes. That's about the size of it. In other words, how big it is depends on your point of view. As for the shoreline, the ins and outs exist at each level of measurement. Figures 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Go back to that for a second. Right. But no matter what the unit of measurement, the resulting waterline would still consist of ins and outs. Pictorially, the jagged edges are just as jagged from 30 miles off the ground as they are from 15 miles, 10 feet, 2 inches, etc. This is fractional geometry. It's quite amazing, and it's the stuff that has made computer-generated images so realistic. Interestingly enough, this fractional geometry parallels our life experiences. Our experiences have a common theme no matter how we look at them. Our shoreline is a timeline. Our ins and outs are ups and downs. We have prosperous years and we have challenging years. These years are made up of prosperous months and challenging months. These months are made up of prosperous days and challenging days. These days are made up of moments we're celebrating and moments that we just can't seem to handle. I believe that God uses nature to teach us about life and ourselves. His lessons for us are everywhere in the world around us. So rhythm, what do we learn? The law is our reason for being able to look forward with certainty to God's blessings. Maybe that's why God gave us a shoreline, so that when we look at it, if we really study his creation, we would actually learn hope. Is that God's message to us in a shoreline? Maybe, maybe not. Still, he wants us to embrace hope. The hope of the righteous shall be gladness. But if we hope for that we see not, but if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience want for it or wait for it? Sorry, my eyes a little bit blurry for a sec here. Be rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer. The law of rhythm states that nature's movements are cyclical. There is a repetition in everything. We see the way the planets move in the seasons, in the tide, and even in our personal circumstances. We have our own sort of biorhythm. We feel good, we feel bad. We experience joy and sadness over and over throughout our life. Because of the law of polarity, we know why these experiences are important. The sad times give meaning to the happy times. Without them, we wouldn't know what happiness was. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 teaches that there is a season for everything. And by the mere use of the word season, we deduce that the times to weep and laugh are cyclical. The times to get and the times to lose are also going to be repeated, just as the seasons repeat. It does not say to everything there is a moment. Neither does it say to everything there is permanence. It says to everything there is a season. I try to use my knowledge of this law to my advantage. When I am overcome with despair, I remember that I can count on an upturn of events. I begin to look for evidence of it. You may want to review the law of perpetual transmutation to see why doing this will literally bring the upswing sooner. So if things are good, do we have to expect things to go bad by law? No, you'd be shooting yourself in the foot to entertain such thoughts. This is an example of one of those times I said to choose wisely the law or tool in your toolbox. Don't be thinking about the friction on your satellite during reentry if you have no intention or desire of having it reenter. Choose your thoughts. Intentionally exercise your free agency to choose your thoughts. It will pay great dividends. Here's what you do instead. Remember the law of polarity by which we know that even the worst circumstances are actually fabulous? There you go. That's the tool you must summon. Not satisfied? Okay, skeptics, approach it this way. Picture a horizontal wavy line. We'll get to the picture in a moment. Up and down and up and down. Some people look at it this way. They are up, so they expect things will eventually go down. This feeling can't last forever. Step aside, friends. They're still attracting exactly what they expect. On the other hand, there are people that strive for better times. And when they experience some, they get comfortable there and level out. Eventually, they become dissatisfied with their circumstances, and what was once wonderful becomes commonplace. They may feel low, but it isn't because they are low. It's because their divine nature beckons them to seek even better circumstances. However, to them, they'll be feeling the law of rhythm in action. They'll feel like they're on a low and have to come down from a high. But from God's perspective, I believe it looks more like eternal progression. Higher levels of awareness, continual learning, continual growth, and approaching their potential. A horizontal wavy line can be rotated just 45 degrees, and the ups and downs instead become a stairway. True happiness comes from the feeling that our soul is expanding, that we are learning and applying something new that brings us closer to God. So here's your first figure, how we tend to feel. We get up and we get down, and we get up and we get down, and we get up and we get down. However, by utilizing the laws, it's more like this. We get up and we plateau for a little bit, and that's why we feel down. We're not moving up for that little period, but then we start back up, and then we plateau for a little while. We feel really good here, and we start not feeling quite as good here, but then we go back up, and so that's the feeling that we have. The reason right here doesn't feel as good as right here is it doesn't feel like a climb. You're right. You plateaued for a little bit, but the spirit inside of you knows there's more. And so you actually want to be, do, and have more. And so you start back up on the cycle. But wouldn't you rather have your life be like figure number 10? Okay. Which is how my life is now versus what my life used to be, and probably yours is. This is probably more like what goes on in your life and how you feel about it. This right here is much better. Okay. This feels much better. Even when this feels a bit low is when you understand the laws, you look forward and you actually start creating the trip back up, the trip back up. Those who expect and seek for good things will experience this kind of growth, figure 10. Okay. While those who don't exercise their faith to seek good things may only experience the ups and downs of going nowhere, or worse, a gradual decline. Okay. So again, pointing this out, just making this obvious, this is what's going on with most of us. This is probably what you would prefer. And I promise you, now that this is my experience, that this is much better than this. Okay. Not just from a physical standpoint, but also from an emotional standpoint. If you're going to have some ups and a little bit of downs, it might as well be trending its way up all the time. Okay. So when you're down, expect to go up. When you're up, expect that One day your up won't be enough to keep you happy, and it'll feel like a down. It's all good. Look forward to feeling better. But you don't have to force it to happen. Nature provides. It will happen all on its own. Calm down and refuse to worry about bad things that haven't happened and which may never happen. Be still and know that I am God, is good advice when you are on a down. I've heard it said that if you imagine the worst that could happen, and it does, you've lived it twice. So if you imagine the best that could happen and the worst happens instead, at least you've only lived it once. And by the way, it won't happen that way, okay? Because you're expecting the best, you will end up with the best if you follow the laws. A beautiful merging of the laws of relativity, rhythm, and polarity. Why can't we just aim high and make a steady upward climb? The fact is that we wouldn't want to. Something inside of us longs for the natural rhythms of life. It is what makes us feel. Think of a baby. You might hold him gently with his head on your shoulder, and he might be sleepy, but he is better comforted with you in the rocking chair than on the sofa. As he drifts off to sleep, the rhythmic pressure assures him that you're still there. Sometimes the same goal can be accomplished by a gentle patting on the back, slow and rhythmic until he is finally asleep. Rhythm is soothing. Rhythm is life. Too much of the same thing makes us restless. We need change to feel alive. Sometimes the downs in life are exactly what we need to appreciate and feel the highs. And thanks to the law of relativity from chapter 2 and the law of polarity from lesson 4, even the downs can bring us joy. Visualize this. You are a passenger getting into a car. Close your eyes. And actually do this. Close your eyes, okay? Visualize you're a passenger getting into a car. Go ahead and close your eyes and visualize that. I want you to pay attention to the law of physics that are affecting your body, okay? So just pretend your eyes are closed if you're not going to close them. But you guys actually can probably hear. Here we go. The engine is running. You feel the gentle vibration. It begins to go in reverse. You feel that. Your eyes are closed and you still know what is happening because you feel it. You stop briefly and you feel that too. Then it is put into drive and you're on your way. You feel the acceleration from 0 to 25 and on up to 65 miles per hour. It sort of sucks you back into the back of your chair. But then the pressure isn't so strong anymore. In fact, it feels like nothing is going on. It feels just like it did before you put it in reverse in the first place. You don't feel anything. Have you stopped? No, you're just traveling at a constant speed. Whoa, all of a sudden you're thrown forward. And if you didn't know any better, you might have thought you were going backwards. But you weren't. Rather, the brakes had been applied to avoid hitting something. You went from 65 miles an hour to 50 miles per hour. You went from feeling nothing to feeling like you were going in reverse. Pretty soon, you feel nothing again. The car is leveled out at 50. Oh, wait, there's a new kind of feeling now. You are pulled to the side. So far, you've only felt forward, backward, and nothing. But now you know what a change of path feels like. You have turned a corner. The analogy could go on and on. This is life. And, any kind of change is going to make you feel something. Sometimes what you feel can be deceiving. Make sure you're headed in the right direction. If you're headed in the wrong direction, make a turn. You will feel the change. It might initially be uncomfortable, but it will bring you joy. Most importantly, make your ultimate direction onward and upward. After you've climbed a little, take notice if you stop feeling the joy that came from the climb. When you do, it's time to reach a little higher. An upward climb draws you securely back into your cushion, which feels much better than a sudden drop that brings your gut into your throat, or even the feeling that you're not going anywhere. Stagnation is miserable because there's absence of feeling. To feel requires change. To feel pure joy, make a change to a more lawful way of living. We all can do better in one area of our life or another. Commit to a life of upward climbing. When you level out, whether or not you're still moving forward, in order to feel again, you need to climb again. We're all seeking to feel more alive, to feel more peace, and to feel more happiness. Some turn to drug use or immorality because these things cause strong but deceptive feelings. To surrender to these temptations generates a powerful but temporary imitation of true happiness. Such feelings are counterfeit and will not last. In fact, they can leave a person craving more of the same until they become completely enslaved by the addiction. To do nothing more than experiment with such vices can even be enough to keep a person from having enough patience, diligence, and discipline to ever discover deeply satisfying, real, and lasting joy. In fact, to indulge in these forged thrills actually violates not only spiritual law, but natural law as well. A person does not have to believe in God to suffer the consequences attached to the breaking of these natural laws. A person's physical makeup is affected, and he or she will eventually suffer not just any low, but a low that is lower than the last low. The kind of punishment we receive in the hereafter depends on the degree of our understanding of the law before we decide to violate it. Regardless, the natural short-term consequences will always follow, no matter how much a person knows about God. Such natural consequences can be evidence alone that the induced thrill was a counterfeit to the much stronger, more satisfying, longer lasting, genuine reality. Let's see if I can. If you guys can hear me okay right now, would you say so? Somebody?
I can hear you now.
I can hear you now.
Okay. Somehow my
Okay, you just cut out
Can't
again.
hear you again.
Okay, here.
that the induced thrill was a counterfeit to the much stronger, more satisfying, longer lasting, genuine version God provides those who pay the price to live by law. Contrary to the ad campaigns of modern society, wickedness never was happiness. Remember that living in harmony with natural law will bring the greatest joys and the most long lasting happiness possible. To violate these laws will always bring pain and misery by law. It will sooner or later, you can count on it, not because the Lord delights in punishing us, but because the consequences are simply spontaneous and natural, like the 3-year-old's reaction to the thieving baby. If you found yourself in this kind of trap, you can get out. It will probably require outside help from your religious leader or a professional. Since the view from the inside, the trap is cloudy, it is hard, if not impossible, to see your way out without a guide. In fact, from inside, one may not even realize there are clouds that need clearing. When we do not improve our thought habits, we continue to experience the same kind of situations again and again because we're trapped in a vibration. That is a byproduct of darker thoughts and feelings. To pull out is often like trying to climb out of a pit of molasses, but it is possible. It all begins with your thoughts. If your thoughts disappoint you, then you could subject yourself to someone else's pure thoughts by choosing pure music, pure books, and pure movies and television programs. It is a no-fail prescription for improving your life. It might take a while to start feeling true joy because of the desensitization that comes from Satan's counterfeits. It will definitely require a lot of uplifting input help elevate our thoughts so that our inner state eventually feels right at home. This is one reason why we must strive for pure thoughts so that we will feel at home to live with our Father in heaven in the next life. How could a person so out of harmony with the laws ever be comfortable in his presence? He wants you and me to experience a joyful reunion with him and will help us prepare for that event if we strive to live his teachings. The process of preparing ourselves cannot be accomplished at a moment's notice. It takes time, and we would be wise to not procrastinate getting started. What else do we need to do if we are trapped in addictive and destructive behaviors? We need to be cautious of the kinds of music we listen to and the kinds of shows we watch. It takes time, but the change surely comes. Even though you cannot see your fingernail growing, you know that it is because you need to trim it once in a while. You might not see your personal growth, but in time you will look back and be grateful you made a lot of good little choices along the way. By small and simple things are great things brought to pass. So let's speak of the natural highs. You know what? Let's see. So let's speak of the natural highs. The highs that come from living in honor life. Serve others, do good to those that hate you, exercise your faith in God, live a disciplined life, believe. No temporary unlawful thrill can ever match the exhilaration of diligent effort toward striving to live more like Jesus Christ. The happiness he promises is long lasting. Stay away from Satan's counterfeits. Since I'm not perfect, I've had to employ this counsel in my life too. I expect I'll need to do throughout my life, as anybody would, or as would anybody. Still, I can testify that to submit to the will of the Lord brings profound peace and joy. It's so worth the effort. The law of rhythm guarantees that you will feel ups and downs, but as you learn to live by law, you can ensure that your lows are only the absence of a high that can keep you climbing, and that's a good thing. So take inventory. Where are you today? Are you on a high or low, or feeling sort of level? What is the one thing you could do to help yourself feel some pure joy? In the first 5 lessons, we've discussed quite deeply how our thoughts affect our circumstances. This lesson leads us well into the next lesson, where we will discuss the law that helps us understand that our actions, or what our actions are doing for or to our results. Excuse me. All right. So law of cause and effect will be tomorrow. And my camera right now, because of when it kicked me off, is not allowing me to put my, I got my face up here, but it's not letting me go to camera. So I'm just going to stay right here like this. That way you guys at least know that I'm here and you can hear me. This is some time now that we're going to take to interact with each other. See, do we have anybody brand new I've never seen before? Yeah, it looks like we might. Okay, cool. So let me explain real quick what we're going to do right now. Now is an opportunity for you to share what you would like to share and or to ask whatever questions you would like to ask. Now, what would be appropriate to share? Well, anything in relationship to what we just went through in what I was reading. anything in relationship to what we've gone over in the past. If you've been following along with us now, we've been together for about a month. And or the other thing that would be great to share would be anything where you intentionally set out to manifest something and it did actually happen for you, to share those testimonials and stories that give everybody else more faith and more belief. Okay, questions. What's appropriate? Well, again, anything in relationship to what we just went over today, anything in relationship to what we've gone over in the past month, and or anything in relationship to manifesting more money and wealth in your life is fair game. So what you'll do at this point is you will just come off of muting yourself. You'll come out and start sharing what you want to share or ask whatever question you want to ask. And we'll go ahead and take you in the order that you do that. Thank you.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you? This is Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
So when I meditate, I usually focus on, of course, law of vibration and manifesting. So there's 7 laws or bylaws, as Bob Proctor has noted, bylaws or sub-laws. But so should we meditate on each of the 7 laws and meditate on them individually?
No, you don't meditate on a law. You meditate on what you want to manifest in your life.
Okay.
The laws aren't meant for meditation. They're meant for awareness.
Okay.
So in other words, okay, here's what's going on in my thought. I'm thinking this, right? I'm not feeling so good. Okay, well, am I doing this going up? Well, you can't see my hand right now because the camera. Are you doing the wavy line that's more flat? Are you doing the wavy line that's going up, right? Understanding that particular law helps you go, okay, I am progressing. I was feeling really good and I've progressed and I'm not really going backwards. I just need to strive for something more.
Oh, okay. So strive for more. Okay, that makes sense. Don't meditate on the laws. That's for us to have awareness. And then you meditate on what you want.
If you're not feeling good about something and you're thinking about it, then flip it and think about the exact opposite. Most people, when they start talking about, when they're not used to this process of manifestation, when you ask them what they want, it's crazy how many times I will ask somebody, hey, so what do you want? And immediately the list they give me, they don't hand me a list, they start talking, right? Mm-hmm. So what do you want? I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want this. It's like, that wasn't my question. My question wasn't, but there is a positive that can come out of that if you switch in what I call pivot. If you pivot from that and go, well, what I don't want is a clunker car that keeps breaking down and leaving me stranded. Well, then you want the opposite of that, right? Yeah. Okay. So describe that to me. Well, I want a car that's reliable and whatever. Okay. Well, what?
Can't hear.
Through your thinking in understanding what's going on around you. Because if you understand that you're on that upward climb, when it kind of levels off for a little while, you will understand to yourself that, okay, I'm not actually really going down. It's time for me to go for my next up.
Oh, okay. And I have another quick question. So the law, in the chapters there, it says, to be mindful of the shows we watch and the music we listen to and things like that. So is it saying that we can never watch our TV shows that we enjoy or listen to the music we love?
What do you think it's saying? Let me ask you.
Oh.
Let me ask you, what do you think it's saying?
Well, to be mindful, just to be aware.
Okay, so here's what I'd say. None of us are going to perfectly all the time put the best stuff into ourselves, okay? Partly because we've learned to like things that we actually probably weren't the best for us in the first place. If we'd never been exposed to them, we probably wouldn't care. But we've now been exposed to it and we've decided that we like it. And here's what I'm going to say, that you need to understand everything has an opposite. So if it's not uplifting you, it's bringing you down. It's typically not very neutral. You're either going up or you're going down. That doesn't mean you can't do it. But remember, yesterday we were talking about, like, I don't really watch, we talked about Criminal Minds. Here's what happened. Never even heard of it, first of all. It wasn't all that into it. But immediately, right after they announced COVID, and when I was, our family was stuck at home, just like you guys, we went on to Netflix and my son found that show. Mm-hmm. And we started watching it. By the way, my son's watched every season. Okay. But it was at least it got to a point where, like, well, we weren't doing anything. And the way that I went about coaching my clients, typically one-on-one, still was the same way it was, but I was usually meeting people that became clients by going out into the world instead of doing it online. Okay. So I did a lot more that wasn't online at the time. But my point is, for a little period of time there, was like, well, we don't know how long this is going to last or whatever. So it was kind of that wait and see attitude. So what are we going to do while we're here at home? Right. So yeah, we watched some things that were good, but then it was like, oh, let's go into this show, Criminal Minds. Now, if you like Criminal Minds, that's fine. But let me tell you, from a vibrational standpoint, you can't watch that show and then right after you just like, man, I feel the best. I feel so much better now, right? You're like, But I mean, there were days where we literally watched probably 8 flipping episodes.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Versus, and you know what that did to me? I was used to doing personal development. I didn't stop, but my 2 hours of personal development were being counteracted by 8 hours of terror.
Criminal Minds. Yes.
Right. Okay. And yeah, it's meant to be that way. It's meant to stimulate us. Shows like that are designed for that. Now, if you're doing personal development and you're building yourself up throughout the day, and you got 30 minutes from time to time or an hour that something, you're maybe watching something like that, it's still going to suck some of the good out, but it's not going to leave you empty. Okay. But if you put 8 hours of that in and you're putting 15 minutes of personal development in, you're never going to get ahead.
Right.
So let's put it the other way too. We talked about the picture and filling it in with color the other day, right?
Right. Yes.
Well, if you want what you want, think of Criminal Minds as actually, not only are you not filling your picture with color, but if you watch too much of it, you're taking some of the color out of your picture.
I like that.
Okay. So it's always our choice. And that's the way God and the universe treat us. Hey guys, it's your choice. Let me share the laws with you. And if you want what you want, we're going to teach and train you how to get what you want. But if you go in opposition to what you're being taught to do, don't expect the results to come the way that we're promising you they will come. So it's your choice. Olympic athlete getting ready for their event. If they're going to do their event right now, are they likely, depending on their sport, right? But is a swimmer going to sit down this morning before going swimming and go to IHOP and have that unlimited stack of pancakes right before they take off to go do their swim? No. Does that mean the swimmer can never have pancakes? No, that doesn't mean the swimmer can never have pancakes, but it would be stupid for the swimmer to go do that right before their event.
Okay. That makes sense. So so my husband, I'm a rock and roll girl at heart, but I love all kinds of music. My husband likes all kinds of music too, but he does love the more heavy metal, which I don't like. Seven or Vengeful and stuff like that. They have really great songs. I like listening to them, except for the ones that scream or sound angry. And my husband loves that music, and I keep telling him, you know, with us trying to manifest and have a more peaceful, happy life by doing and listening to that stuff all the time is like, I feel like it's contradicting what we're trying to do, and he won't listen. So how do I block myself from getting that absorbed into my aura, in my being, if he continues to want to listen to that?
Buy him a nice set of headphones.
That's a good point. Okay.
You know,
Yeah, if you want to go down that path all by yourself, here you go. Here's some headphones. Because I told him I want to grow together, but it's not working if you're going to keep doing that crap.
well, and you got to be careful, right, as you're building. But the point is, fill yourself up. He's going to see a change in you.
Oh. Sorry, I'm not able to hear the last part.
Can you guys hear me again?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay. What I was going to say is, you know, he will recognize a change in you, and he'll either like it or not like it. Hopefully he will appreciate it, because I know what, of course, talking to you and him for a few minutes, you know, that you guys want to move forward. You don't want to stay where you're at.
Exactly.
And what I like about when we went through the science of getting rich is Wallace Wattles is saying, hey, look, again, I told you guys, I think the other day too, think of this as like you are currently in your training camp. When you're in training camp getting ready for the season, if you're in sports, for instance, it doesn't, whatever sport you're doing, let's say at a professional level, you want to be a professional. Well, you may not want to be professional in sports, but you want to become a professional manifester, meaning you choose we're all manifestors and we're all perfect at it because it happens by law, but you are an intentional one, meaning you actually manifest what you want, not just whatever crap comes in and out of you. Okay. So you were wanting to turn into a professional manifester. Well, if somebody is a professional athlete, usually they have a season, like the NBA season's going on right now. They're in the playoff mode. But a couple months from now, they're going to have their off season where they can kind of do anything they want to go do. Some of them will choose to keep most of their routines, but some of them are going to gain 20, 30 pounds. They just are. Okay. Or they're just going to do things that aren't necessarily beneficial to them as athletes. That's why usually.
Can't hear you.
Why don't you guys go get rich now? Follow what it is we're talking about instead of taking the slow path. Say, well, I'm going to go through my law of attraction and subconscious mind reprogramming training camp.
Oh, you disappeared.
Yeah, Kevin, I think there's something wrong with your audio.
It keeps going out for me too.
It's probably something within his internet. Probably he has too much bandwagon.
Yeah, I think it's his internet or something, because we all seem to be having the problem.
Right, because I can hear everybody else.
Right, we all can hear each other too. That's
Right.
true.
Right.
Yeah, Kevin's been saying that he's been having internet problems like in the area.
You guys can hear me or you can't?
Couldn't.
Now we
Yeah,
can.
now.
Now we can.
Yeah, this has been going on a while, but it's okay. I think it might just pick up from where you left off. At least that's what happens when you start reading.
Okay.
So I don't know if that happens when you're talking. It's hard to tell, but I know it picks up from where you left off when you're reading.
Cool. I'm glad it does pick up where I left off.
That's what I observed. I don't know if anyone else has observed that.
Interesting. Okay. So maybe there's a sort of delay.
so
Anyhow,
far. Yeah.
any other questions or comments for right now? So everybody is good with what we've gone through today? You feel like you've got it? Can you at least say yes or no, or you're not hearing me? Because now I don't, if nobody responds, I don't even know if you can hear me right now.
Oh, that's true.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's very helpful with the answers to my questions. Thank you.
You're welcome, Michelle. You're welcome. Okie dokie. Well, if you don't have anything to ask or anything that you want to share, we will go ahead and call it a day. But is there anything that's on somebody's mind that you're like, I don't know if I should ask it? You probably should. Okay. If it came to your mind and it's a question, you should probably ask it. But if you don't have anything that's come to your mind as a question, then you're probably fine.
Well, Kevin, if I'm been trying to manifest something for quite a while, I mean, a long time.
Yeah.
And it's just not, it's not happening. Like it's not, it's not happening. What does that mean?
You have a subconscious program that is strong, that is in opposition to what you want.
Now, how do I work on that? I mean, how do I tap into that? Because I've been, working on that, but if it's there, I'm not tapping into it.
Let me ask you a couple of questions so I know what you've done so far to maybe help yourself.
Okay.
What have you done so far is receiving any kind of training around reprogramming your subconscious mind and or understanding how the law of attraction really works? Has it mostly been just hopping on to YouTube University or reading articles, or have you actually gone through some form of, like formal, hey, let's help train you to do this?
I've been doing things on my own.
Okay.
I mean, I've been working on, the law of attraction, I mean, for years and years.
Yeah. But you've done it on your own, correct?
Yeah, I guess that's what, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I've done this on my own, I guess, in a way. And
Okay.
I'm frustrated with it.
Yeah. For every 100 people that I've talked to about this, 2 or 3% can never get it figured out on their own. So if there's 100 people out there, and if you've been working on this for longer than a year or two, and you haven't manifested what you want, and meaning you just finally learned about law of attraction a little bit, you've been working on it for the last year on your own, maybe even year and a half, maybe even 2 years or longer, but if you haven't figured out and you're not getting what you want, and it's been a year or longer and you've been going through this, it's because you've got blind spots that you can't see. You're not getting reprogrammed, and you're not going to pull it off on your own. People don't want to hear that.
No, I've come to that, but I don't know how to tap into that.
Yeah, you take someone like me and you get coaching, and then you usually break through within a few short months, maybe sometimes as quick as a week or two. But typically everybody I've ever worked with in a group coaching setting or one-on-one, I work with them for before 6 months is over typically.
Is that personalized coaching?
I do group and personalized. The group coaching is ready to start doing that. Again, I have a group going right now. But obviously that's not for free. Okay. When I've coached people one-on-one.
I also like to apologize. He's back with a vengeance.
Who is that?
I also like to apologize.
Wow, it's like a CB radio and we picked up another channel.
That was weird.
That was weird. It was like a crying.
That was interesting. Okay.
So
Wow.
Kevin, do you suggest I messenger you?
Yeah, I suggest I'll give you my
Talk
email.
further?
Yeah, I'll give you my email address so we can have a conversation, and then send me your phone number and we can have a conversation.
Okay, very good.
So if you got something to write with, let me know.
I'm ready.
Okay, it's Coach, just, like a coach.
Uh-huh.
And then it's just my name, Kevin Sparks. So Coach Kevin Sparks at Gmail.
Okay.
Yeah. Because again, if people can figure it out in a relatively short period of time and it's working, great. But I'm telling you, maybe at best 3 people out of 100 will figure it out. Here's what normally happens. They'll go on and off, they'll watch videos. They might even put some money into a seminar or something for 3 or 4 days. But even when that's over, here's the problem. Whoever it was teaching you is not there as you go through the change process to lead you and to answer your questions and get you unstuck along the way. But once you've got it figured out and you know how to do it, then we still do it for a while longer. Why? Because we want it to become subconscious instead of just surface.
Okay.
Because people will start having successes and think, okay, cool, I got it. It's like, no, you don't. You're in a higher vibration right now.
We lost you.
Lost my voice for a moment.
Yeah, we lost you for.
Yeah, and we lost you. The last we heard was higher vibration.
Okay, perfect. That's so I know where to go from there.
Oh,
So you're in a higher vibration, you're manifesting some things, but subconsciously you haven't reprogrammed yourself yet. So let's say your average income has been 60 grand a year. I'm just pulling out a number.
right.
And let's say now it's gone up to 80,000. By the way, we can get a lot further than that. Okay. But let's just say, and so you're kind of happy about it. You're like, well, last year I made 60. I'm now up to 80. If you have had some successes there, but your subconscious mind doesn't get reprogrammed, chances are next year you're going to be back at 60, or even worse, you'll drop down to 40. Now, I don't mean this is an exact number, but your subconscious mind will always bring you back to what it thinks is normal. So even if you're able to get past it for a little while, your subconscious mind's going to drag you back down. Once you got your subconscious mind reprogrammed to accept a new you and a new self-image of what is actually normal for you, then the subconscious mind will make sure that you get there and that you stay there. And each time, as you're watching in the book that I was reading, when you're watching it go up, that's essentially kind of what's happening with your progress. Is your subconscious mind, when you're going up, is accepting new levels of you as being normal. That's why it can continue to go up, but it can't just go up only in a straight line. So it's not just about being able to feel and enjoy it. It's also about that we can't program ourselves for infinite today and let it stay at infinite, because we don't know what infinite means. So we program ourselves for as far up as we can believe, and past what we truly believe now, but at least as far as we can see. And then we start making our way up, and then our subconscious mind eventually accepts it. And then it aligns with God and formless substance, the universe, and you get what you want. And then that's why you stay there for a little while, and you'll stay there for a long while, maybe, but it'll be better than what it used to be. It'll go down if all of a sudden, going back to Michelle, now, if you get everything you want, you become rich, and you fill your bank account for a while, and then you decide for the next 6 months you're going to do nothing but watch Criminal Minds from the time you wake up and go to bed, you'll probably lose everything you got. Okay, I'm just using that as an example. Okay. So, but you probably aren't going to want to go back to a lot of the things you used to do, because now your spirit, your vibration, you realize how fast it's sucking out what you really want. So you want to put in what you want that will get you the results that you want. But if we think of this more as, not that all of us are athletes necessarily, but if we look at this as how athletes train for their events or their seasons or the Olympics or whatever, it'll probably make a lot of sense to you. If you want to go quickly with this and change your life quickly, you want to get help. And every one of those people has coaches not just a coach, some have multiple coaches on the team or whatever,
Mhm.
for different aspects of their life. But what happened for me, if you want it to happen this way, is I immersed myself too. I went from $5,000 to $6,000 a month, 50, 60 hours a week working, to 10 to 15 hours a week working, and an average of $50,000 a month. And
Mhm.
that happened in under 3 months,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But I also put 2 to 3 hours a day into working on me
Right.
and doing that change. So it'll come faster to you as you put that in. I mean, but I can work with somebody over a period of 6 months, and if they'll commit about an hour and 15 minutes to hour and 30 minutes a day on average for that 6 months, sometime within, typically it's a little different for everybody depending on how deep their programs are, but you will be changing those, and by the time you're done, they will change. Does that mean you have everything you want yet? No, because you're going to always be going on that climb,
Mhm.
but you will know what you need to know, and you'll be programmed in such a way where you will have extreme confidence and belief, and you will have manifested some cool things already, like significant things that you have wanted, and you'll be able to do more.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. I will email you. Okay. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Yeah, you're
taking your
extremely
time.
welcome. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okie dokie. Well, I look forward to seeing you guys and gals tomorrow.
Yes.
Have an amazing, wonderful, awesome day.
Thanks,
Okay.
Kevin.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome,
You too.
Kevin.
Thank everyone else. Bye now.